Do the numbers just speak for themselves, or is there some kind of other motive for the filing at this time, Joey?
No correlation at all, Mike. You kidding? I'm being sarcastic, obviously.
That's $100 million each fight.
I would think close to $1 billion.
He probably is, but he spends like a mother. He probably has like a couple $100 million in jewelry.
This is what Floyd writes on his Instagram. Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear, especially when it comes to the media in this country.
Floyd Mayweather, who once claimed to have earned more than $1.2 billion over the course of his boxing career, is now reportedly confronting severe financial distress, according to startling new coverage from CNN. While he continues to display private jets, lavish properties, and watches worth millions, individuals close to the situation suggest a very different picture behind the scenes. Sources indicate that years of excessive spending, unsuccessful business deals, and escalating legal costs have placed enormous pressure on his finances. Some reports claim the former champion has quietly begun selling off major assets to satisfy outstanding debts, while others warn that a bankruptcy filing may soon become unavoidable.
Everything ends up this way. Well, everything does end up this way because people are surrounded by other people who make 10%, 20%, 5% on what the other guy brings home. So people are incentivized to push people to keep scaling and keep going and all eat when you eat. But I think it's very important for people to stand up and say, you know what? I don't think this thing needs to be that big. I don't think the valuation needs to get here.
Floyd Mayweather once stood at the very top of the sports world in terms of wealth, reportedly collecting between $1.20 and $2 billion from championship bouts, sponsorship deals, and paid appearances. However, the fortune that accumulated so rapidly did not last. Rather than prioritizing long-term investments or protecting his financial future, he spent freely, operating under the assumption that the income would continue indefinitely. Extravagant acquisitions, ranging from custom luxury aircraft to massive collections of high-end supercars, became a regular part of his lifestyle. His determination to project the image of the wealthiest and most flamboyant name in athletics gradually overshadowed practical money management. In the end, the same extravagant behavior that inspired his famous money persona has reportedly pushed him to the edge of serious financial trouble.
He's up there, bro. He's probably got to be at least $400 million. I mean, some of the purses from his fights are like $100 million each fight.
I would think
shit.
Close to $1 billion.
He probably is, but he spends like a. He probably has like a couple $100 million in jewelry. Have you seen like videos of his jewelry?
Yeah, some crazy. Let me see. Let me see what his net worth is. Mayweather net worth.
Them Googles be lying though. Huh?
They be lying. You think?
I think so. It's probably not accurate. I mean,
let's see what they say. Exactly what you said. It says an estimated $450 million.
Yeah.
Richest boxer in the world. It's a lot of money.
Mayweather captured attention not only because he remained undefeated, but also due to the staggering purses tied to his appearances in the ring. Reports indicate that his showdown with Manny Pacquiao generated more than $250 million for him, and his exhibition against Conor McGregor delivered comparable earnings. He was repeatedly promoted as the highest-earning athlete in the world. Instead of using that revenue to secure lasting financial stability, however, he treated it as spending power for an increasingly lavish lifestyle. Over-the-top celebrations, chartered private flights for his inner circle, and gambling sessions involving millions of dollars gradually became routine parts of his everyday life.
Floyd Mayweather, the highest paid athlete, not the highest paid boxer, the highest paid athlete in the world. I had the opportunity and pleasure to be around him for many years. I was his personal shopper. I was a personal friend of his family. One of my greatest memories of being just lucky enough to even be around that environment was watching him train. Watching Floyd Mayweather train is a masterclass in discipline. It is a masterclass in work ethic. It is a masterclass in this is how you execute and get stuff done. Every rep, he hits it hard. There's not one lazy rep. He does everything at such a high frequency, so elevated. I'm like, goodness gracious, watching this man train, it's like, that's how I want to train for life. I've been to the club with Floyd where we leave in the club 3, 4 in the morning and he's still going to hit his 6 miles. He'll have all the cars follow him and he's running down the Las Vegas Strip, down back streets.
Floyd's financial difficulties have extended beyond excessive spending. Over the years, his name has repeatedly appeared in legal disputes connected to controversial business dealings. In 2022, he became involved in a class action case centered on a cryptocurrency project that critics described as a pump and dump operation. While the lawsuit was ultimately thrown out, it drew attention to his tendency to participate in hype-driven investments without sufficient supervision. The situation intensified in 2024 when he was hit with another legal claim, this time accused of instructing his bodyguard to attack an individual. The plaintiff pursued more than $3 million in compensation. Together, these legal battles have underscored a pattern of instability and risky judgment in his financial choices.
How do you explain all that? How did that happen in your life?
Well, things happen. I had 3 children with a young lady. We wasn't seeing eye to eye. We wasn't seeing eye to eye. She was a little upset, had a little alcohol in her system. She was a little edgy, and I told her, basically I needed the keys to my truck. She was upset. She didn't want me to take the keys to the truck. So things got out of hand and blown out of, they blow things up bigger than what things are really made out to be. So things happen.
But nevertheless, you had to do 2 months, right?
Yeah, I did 2 months for a misdemeanor, yes.
So what is it like to have everything and then not have freedom?
That's what I come to find out. Freedom is very important. Freedom is very, very important. And I'm just, I'm happy to be free. I'm happy to be back, in my children's life.
Joe Rogan, known for speaking candidly, openly called out Mayweather over what he described as a careless attitude toward tax responsibilities. Rogan emphasized that regardless of someone's wealth, ignoring tax payments can quickly lead to major consequences with the IRS. History has shown that numerous high earners have faced serious setbacks after failing to meet those obligations. He suggested that Floyd's flashy way of living could be masking significant financial strain beneath the surface. According to Rogan, the path Mayweather appears to be on follows a familiar pattern that has been seen before.
He owe that money to the IRS. How much does he owe?
It's in the $20+ million range.
It's a lot of money, man.
But it's not something that he's been, it's not like deception.
No.
It's just neglect to pay.
Neglect. And it's also like, I think, and there is like a truth to this. He makes so much money that there's probably a point when they're like, hey, it's time to pay your taxes. And you go like, all right, here's a check for $25 million. That's an incredible amount of money. And then they go, that's true, but you owe 50 more. And he's just like, that can't be right. I've given you $25 million.
Yeah, he's bought over 100 luxury cars from the same dealer and always pays in cash.
He has $15 million worth of cars.
Congrats. You can sell those.
Mike Tyson once generated hundreds of millions of dollars at the height of his boxing career, yet after prolonged uncontrolled spending, he ultimately filed for bankruptcy. During his peak years, Tyson purchased exotic tigers, sprawling estates, and even a solid gold bathtub. Now, Floyd appears to be moving along a similar troubling path. Like Tyson once did, Mayweather openly showcases his luxury vehicles, expensive jewelry, and lavish properties. However, away from the spotlight, there are growing indications that his financial foundation may be far less secure than it appears.
It's your main man, Made Man, back at it again, and y'all know how I get down over here. We talking boxing. Now, I am fresh off watching episode 1 of the All Access of the upcoming fight between Floyd Money Mayweather and Marcos Maidana. Now, a lot of people may have gotten a lot of things from watching that episode. It was real flamboyant. We seen Floyd Mayweather tossing his money around as always, talking about the Miss Jackson situation. We seen Marcos Maidana looking focused, more so focused on his baby and everything. So those are a lot of the minor takeaways. But my major takeaway from this whole thing, ladies and gentlemen, is I was quickly hit with a emotion of nostalgia, you know what I mean? Because seeing Floyd Mayweather with all this money and cars and clothes and hoes and yada, 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 it just kind of reminded me. There was a small segment in that episode that stated that a lot of fighters believe in their immortality. You know what I mean? We've seen this before. So the question I ask, we have seen this movie before. Boxers traditionally going broke. They start off well, so flamboyant with all this money and all these cars, and they have businesses they invest in. There's something special, at least in their minds they are. And then after either retirement or near retirement or after the fight game has left them, traditionally boxers go broke, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not saying this is going to happen to Floyd Mayweather, but I swear on everything, man, I hope it doesn't happen to Floyd Mayweather, because Floyd Mayweather is going to go down in the halls of history, ladies and gentlemen, as possibly top 3 to top 5 to top 10 of all-time greats. I mean, depending on how you view Floyd Money Mayweather. But however, he is definitely the number one boxer of my era, ladies and gentlemen, of my time on this earth of watching the sport of boxing. No one has the skill set of Floyd Money Mayweather. Carve it up, chop it up how you like. Get on the debate about his opponents, all this other crap. We can have that for another video. But this man is going to go down in history as an all-time great without a doubt. And it's going to, and I understand the argument for those who want to may even present the argument that he's the number one greatest of all time. I see valid points in that argument. I don't agree with that, but I see valid points in that argument. This is a great boxer. We are going to miss Floyd Money Mayweather when he leaves the sport, ladies and gentlemen. But the fact remains,
Floyd has frequently discussed his supposed financial game plan, even mentioning a buy low, sell high philosophy when talking about property investments. However, his real-world decisions appear inconsistent with that message. There is no debate about his exceptional skill as a fighter. His defensive precision, calculated timing, and high boxing IQ secured his place among the sport's all-time greats. Walking away from the sport without a single defeat is an achievement only a select few competitors have managed. Still, excellence in athletics does not automatically equal sound money management. The same discipline and sharp focus he demonstrated in competition seem to differ greatly from the impulsive choices he has reportedly made outside of it.
People hate consistency when it comes to teams that you don't like and not a fan of, and they constantly win all the time. The Patriots went through the same thing. Small example. I'm going to just take boxing, for instance.
Right.
Floyd.
Yes.
Everybody loved when Floyd was winning early in his career.
Yes.
But when he kept winning,
yes,
he became the villain.
Yes.
And then everybody paying in and tuning in to see him lose.
Right.
That's it. Yes. He became the villain.
Even Floyd's uncle, Jeff Mayweather, has openly expressed doubts about the way he handles his money. During a frank interview, Jeff acknowledged that he struggles to make sense of Floyd's unpredictable choices, particularly when it comes to his scattered investment activity. Observers say Floyd tends to enter business ventures without a defined plan, seemingly motivated more by pride than careful reasoning. His bold statements about large-scale real estate holdings have also drawn skepticism from industry experts who recognize just how volatile and high-risk those markets can be.
I have no idea. I mean, like I said, I don't necessarily see Floyd very much, so we don't really get a chance to talk very much, and so I don't really know what's going on with him. I know he's doing things that, to better his life, like, buying homes and buying, different things. And so, I don't know exactly what he's doing. So, I haven't seen him in quite some time. And I haven't heard about him talking about doing any more exhibitions. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know, but I haven't heard anything.
I know that KSI's team would be happy to make their fight with him